Sit with the wind. Oh. Are we going to see Necromancer Lady? No. That painful, eh? If drawing wasn't painful enough, I have to stop drawing to do my fucking taxes. And then after I file my taxes, I also have to file my estimated taxes for 2024, so it's like I have to get kicked in the balls and then get my cock stepped on before I can go back to my normal form of torture, so... Are you going to have references to Ballverse characters in your manga? It really bugs me how so many people are like, oh, you're doing a manga? Are you going to do the same shit that you've been doing for the last, like, 3 years or whatever? 10 years? Because, like, they can't fucking imagine the concept of having new characters and, like, actual new content. I just want to say that those characters you like right now that you see more of were also characters that you didn't know about at some point, and then I had to create them, if you know what I mean. Being attacked, yeah. It's like... Take that as a no. Yeah, it's a fucking no. It's like the bands that are on tour, and at every single fucking tour there's people who are like, are you gonna play Mr. Brightside? Are you gonna play Mr. Brightside? No cameo of iconic Ballverse characters like Time Warrior Harambe or Kobeni's car. You think elves and dwarves are unrealistic, and yet you won't accept the existence of Kobeni's car in your cinematic universe, you bigots. All of these characters in the BaalBud cinematic universe you talk about exist in a way in which they're supposed to... They exist for making like a specific joke that can be done within 4 pages, okay? The whole point of drawing this manga is so I can do something slightly more fucking complex than being like, haha, she's not having sex. You know? Like, it's cool. But, it would be like if Warner Brothers is trying to create a fucking, I don't know, judicial drama, and then all their fans were like, is Wile E. Coyote gonna be in that? Oh wait, they were planning to do that, and they fucking canceled the movie. Good job, Warner Brothers. But you know what I mean. I'm doing long form so I can do something different. That's the whole point. Woo! Destruction! Is this a commission comic? It's my personal thing. I'm basically not making money right now, so... But sometimes you have to take a loss in the short term to be preparing for other things in the long term. You know, it's like those people who waste $100,000 to go back to school and get their fucking master's degree that they're not going to use. Except instead of paying people, I'm just have zero income, but... So it's not that bad. Skeletons with weapons, Dark Souls reference. This is where you're supposed to say it's a JoJo reference. Is that a person talking? JoJo reference. Deadline for manga is until the end of the month, by the way. Whose deadline? Just in terms of general concept. We're going to draw images of the dungeon looking at basic Unity fantasy dungeon art assets. Which even that is significantly better than all the shitty AI art that just is generated automatically and is spit out. Will you release a Japanese text version of the manga? No. My comics read from left to right because they're in English. Also, I'm drawing it at a pixel resolution that won't be publishable. The whole point of this is I don't have to be beholden to anybody other than myself. God, my tolerance to having to deal with chat today is way lower than usual, I've realized. If only there was a way to banish chat forever to the Shadow Realm. Poor BB, yes. When was the last time Constrictor was timed out? In about like 3 minutes. When he inevitably posts something about Futa Cox or something. I am very cringe. If anything, it would be better if we had more cringe people than just vaguely annoying human beings. You know what? Fuck this. You say that now and RDW will appear in here. I mean, I'm talking more about, like, people that I could have a good excuse to actually ban. It's good content when you ban your chat, so... When I watch popular streamers, there's always, like, one guy who, the first time they show up in chat, they're like, why aren't you playing Overwatch? And they immediately get banned because... If there's one thing that will get you banned immediately for Twitch streamers, it's like complaining about the game that's being played and be like, why aren't you going to play a different game? So they get their ass immediately banned, and it's always good content. Is the stuff you've done already available somewhere? Damboru. I use eHentai when I look at my own content. The number one answer is Twitter, but nobody wants to fucking use Twitter now, so I actually have to start moving my shit to Patreon or some other places. I think eHentai is actually the most complete gallery of everything I've done so far, if you want to check the really old stuff. Why don't you play Drawing 2? It's actually more like you're playing Drawing 2, and people are like, why aren't you playing Drawing 1? Drawing 1 was so much better. Aren't you a Drawing 1 drawer, streamer? I like Drawing 1. Twitter is AIDS now when you aren't logged in. Nothing loads most of the time and you can't see replies if it does. Even if you're logged in, everything that, any kind of drawing you post in the media tab. First thing, okay, the media tab was better even before the current bullshit of everything being posted sensitive material and you have to double click it just to see the image, right? You can't use thumbnails. But even before that, they fucking nerfed the media tab because it used to be when you clicked on an image of the media tab, you would go directly to the post so you could get the context of in what sort of situation the artist drew that and their comments on the picture. but then they got rid of it and you just see the image. So like you don't know what if the artist had any other comment next to it. So you can't use the media tab to just like browse through all the art that they made, for one thing. And then after that, of course, they made it so that literally every media tab is just endless, like this is sensitive material shit. So I guess it's just fucking unusable at this point. I'll continue to upload shit onto Twitter, but I really have to decide like where I want to be. I guess Patreon is the best place because it's where my money comes from, but I found you from the eHentai Archive. Actually, like many things, the eHentai Archive is the most complete and comprehensive storage of my art. It's not me uploading it, so it's usually like a few weeks behind. But it has like all the old stuff. I tried to have a mega download for all my old shit so that you could just check everything and just download everything with one easy thing, but then I guess annoying cucks that don't like my popularity reported me to the mega server that it was full of child porn or terrorist shit or something like that, and it got taken down. So it's not really possible to have, I think, a public downloader for someone of my popularity without, you know, the anti-cucks showing up and fucking everything up. So I don't know if I can have something convenient like that. I think plenty of people have mega archives. So do you make a mega archive? Yeah, but if they're popular, that shit gets taken down. That's the problem. The question is, how many people do they have online who just want to fuck shit up regarding them? And in my case, I think there's quite a few. It was up for a while, but ever since it got taken down, I've been like too lazy to do it again. Make your own eHentai gallery. The eHentai gallery is fine. I'm not maintaining it, I'm not uploading shit, and I'm perfectly fine with that. If I can get away with not maintaining my own eHentai gallery, that's perfectly fine for me. The old soulless YouTube post, yeah. That was when my Patreon income peaked, when Solus started getting popular on YouTube, and then it's been going down ever since then. Have you seen the new tan cheerleader Nikkei Big Dog? Lots of hentai? Oh my god, guys. Wow, that's amazing. Have you heard that there's a new gacha girl meant to make you horny so you spend money on gacha? And there's people drawing hentai of her? Wow. So crazy. That's never happened before, guys. Big news. The gambling addict video game that's based entirely on making sad, lonely Coomers use their money has released a new Coomer character. She's so new and original. She has these standard anime tropes and also big boobs. Oh my god. The worst thing about gacha is that basically all the doujin authors only make gacha content now. I remember back in the day, like we had, I don't know, good DOA doujins and stuff, but people don't even like draw fighting game girls or a lot of the other shit. Even anime is kind of on the down low. It's all just gacha, gacha, gacha all the time. Fucking annoying as hell. I don't really care one way or the other, but you'd think that people would be a little more interested in the type of things they're making doujins for. I don't like this stonework. Fuck. A huge part of drawing manga and getting better at manga is like figuring out how to draw various textures. Because you have to fill up the fucking screen. That's part of the problem. And it's something that I haven't had to really do because I've been able to avoid drawing backgrounds for a while. Just get an assistant. Apparently, even the better artists are having a lot of difficulty finding assistants nowadays. Your assistants graduate and become mangaka themselves. So you have to constantly replace them. Just a reference to help you out? Yeah, well, if you're going... I'm of course looking at references, but... You don't want to just like draw like this, right? It looks like a fucking child's drawing. The thing about texture is you don't want to draw all of the details. You want to have some of the details and then reduce the details in places so it doesn't look like your simple drawing. Hey, thanks for the subscription, Absoros Worm. I appreciate the support. How goes things? Comic is looking better and better each time I see it. I can actually look at the drawings that I did when I started inking the comic and the drawings that I've done more recently and see like noticeable difference, which is kind of crazy within like a month. But I guess when you're being forced to like actually do the shit that you have to do, you really do improve pretty quickly. Like the line thickness and various stuff. It's getting better very, very quickly. Hey, Alien Hominid, thanks for the tier 1 gifted sub. I appreciate the support. I'm so proud of you. Silence, woman. Go back to the your loom and direct your servants. I fucking hate when people are like, oh, you're doing such a good job. I'm so proud of you. It's so condescending. Do you have to fight the urge to redo earlier pages? I mean, I can redo earlier pages. That's the good thing about working in digital, is that you can go back and make small alterations without much difficulty. And it doesn't cost you much time. It's not like people who are working with actual pen and ink where redoing a page means like you're redrawing a huge chunk of it to begin with. If you want to fix a little bit in digital, it's really not that big a deal. You can go back and fix shit. Let me praise you, damn it. No! Only hostility. So when you're done, you'll stop and all that built-up skill will fade away. I don't think that's how it works, but sure. I don't think you suddenly get bad at drawing just because you stop drawing. If anything, if there's anything we know from mangaka, it's that you can actually actively get worse while you're still drawing manga, depending on the author, so... Just use Minecraft bricks texture. I'm actually looking at images of Unity assets while I draw this shit, so... Muscle memory is a crazy thing. It's funny because, like, some mangaka improve a shit ton, some mangaka barely improve at all, and some mangaka can actively get worse. Like, the author of GTO, he was doing something, some GTO-related manga recently that got canceled, and everyone was pointing out that, like, it seems like he actively forgot how to draw. He was never, like, a great artist to begin with, and sort of got by based on other manga elements, but like people were being like, dude, he's like really getting worse to the point that we can't defend him. It was pretty weird. Enjoy your first time out. Ironic ship posting is still ship posting. But the funny faces, yeah. I think a lot of the stuff that was being drawn was being done by assistants as well. I think it was called Paradise Lost. Yeah, here's an image of GTO Paradise Lost. Notice the spacing between the eyes and, you know, the shape of the jaw and stuff like that. And the hand. It's getting like, it's starting to get strange here. It's kind of weird. And it straight up got canceled, I think. It was online instead of on a magazine for a while, and then they just straight up fucking canceled it, I think. Magazine Pocket. I guess it's not canceled. It's just, I'm not even sure if it's being drawn right now or not. But, yeah, all in all, people are like, this guy's getting worse. Was Homie actually that good before, though? No, he wasn't that good. You can get by as a mangaka and be popular if you have, like, if you capture the zeitgeist, which GTO did. Remember this, guys, back in the day? God tier opening. Even though nothing's actually moving. It's really just the song carrying that shit. This was the 90s, so when you saw effects like this, you're like, oh, that's so cool. When I see this, it makes me want to get on my fucking motorcycle and destroy the vice principal's car for the 10th time. It feels good, man. 90s live show. 90s Kino. You have a bike? Of course I don't have a fucking bike. I have a Honda Insight. The Honda Honda Hybrid. I'm not going to have a vehicle that's going to get me killed if anything goes wrong. That fucking sucks. I mean, why have a motorcycle when you could just have a bicycle? It's cheaper and it has all the same detriments that having a motorcycle has. Hybrid, what a soy car. Get a real truck, brother. Yes. Nothing like getting 10 miles per gallon. If you're doing shit like door dashing, it's really nice to have a hybrid. Sometimes I want to get a Class M license. What can you drive with a Class M? Is that like commercial vans and stuff? It's not semis, right? Electric bikes are pretty good. How about instead of being a pussy, you just ride a normal bike and get your fucking thighs worked out. How about that, huh? Oh, M is motorcycle. I'd only get a motorcycle license if I was going to be in Japan and be a fucking biker gang and be like, ora, 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 let's go! Apparently kids nowadays in Japan don't want to be biker gangs at all. They don't think it's cool anymore. Sad. Every once in a while you'll see news about biker gangs getting in fights or something, and it was like local leader of biker gang got in fight with other local leader of biker gang, and they'll list the ages, and one is like 56 and the other is like 48, sometimes even older, and everybody reading the article is like, holy shit, this country is fucking finished. Or biker gangs are in the geriatric ward. Gyaru are also an extinct species, but manga and anime will make you think they're still alive. That feeling when you're a virgin in your local manga, and one day a brown Gyaru shows up and is like, you're still a virgin? Kya? That's so, you're such a loser. Loser virgins like you should have sex with a Gyaru like me. And you're like, no, please, Gyaru One-chan. Stop sucking my dick. No. This does not happen in real life, shockingly. Your manga has lied to you again. Not only is there no kind-hearted Gyaru that will take your virginity even though you don't want her to, there is also no Gyaru, period. It doesn't exist. I don't know, I think it's more regional thing, though. When I was in Kansai, there's way more Gyaru types than there is in Tokyo. Tokyo is kind of buttoned up regarding everything. It's full of salarymen. I think the farther you get away from Tokyo, the higher the chance you have of dealing with 90s shit, like biker gangs and gyaru and stuff like that. Like, you regularly hear about the cops getting in fights with actual young bikers in Okinawa, and Okinawa also has the highest birth rate and stuff in Japan. It's also, of course, the farthest from Tokyo. So it's like, you know, you can still get your low income bullshit experience if you go to Okinawa. What did I just come into BaalBud explaining? The truth that hentai isn't real. Okinawans know what's good for them. Okinawa is just like appeasing American Marines, prostitution, having sex, riding their motorcycles, and eating steaks right now. Based American colony. They know that the metropolitan lifestyle is toxic. I mean, there's a lot of places that aren't Tokyo that have low-ass birth rates as well, of course. Tokyo is just a boring place in general, in terms of like the way people behave. A lot of fashionable, boring people that like wear proper brands and stuff like that. If you want to see the real Japan, you gotta go to the heartland. Just like America, real Americans aren't in New York City. They're out here in the country with the cows, Keikona clap. Beat Takeshi's Sonatine made Okinawa look like heaven. Yeah, except the part where he fucking blows his brains out in a car. I'm pretty sure anything that Beat Takeshi makes, it doesn't make anything look like heaven. It makes it look like there's a bunch of Yakuza killing each other, which they rarely actually do. Especially nowadays. Every once in a while there'll be like some Yakuza on Yakuza violence, but Yakuza, like the biker gangs, the Yakuza aren't doing great themselves, so... Japan, definitely not an American protectorate. Hey, if America doesn't want to have to babysit Japan, they need to convince the Japanese parliament to pass laws where they can own nukes. Because at the end of the day, it's all about the nukes, right? Also, America does want to keep Japan as their military base based on its strategic location. Okinawa especially is a really nice location for both staging for Taiwan and China and North Korea and stuff. It's a great spot to control the Pacific, so... Even if Americans bitch about Japan, like, being safe due to the American nuclear umbrella, I don't think the military wants to give up their bases in Japan at all. Also, one thing that you'll see a lot of Keikonas complain about online is about how Japan is getting a free ride on American military, blah, 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 as if they're, like, personally there defending the Japanese from, like, the barbarian hordes. Well, it's not a free ride. Japan pays a shit ton of military support money to America every single year. But, you know, Keikonas don't want to look at that type of stuff, so... There's no Japanese countryside village full of gorgeous, fertile women seeking hapless, washed-out men to impregnate them. I hear that actually Kyushu, the southern island of Japan, has like really high male to female, like high female ratio, because like all the guys leave or something. So it's actually really easy to impregnate women there. I'm not sure if that's true or not. Okay, guys, I fucking found a helpful graph for you. Todofuken betsu josei jinkou no tai dansei jinkou hi. So the highest is Nagasaki, plus 13%, Kagoshima, Akita, Aomori. So yeah, going to the southern states is the right approach. Someone made a graph on where to meet women. Well, this is just the total population difference. Just based on women living longer, you're always going to have more women than men, unless you're like actively doing population control. But for the southern states, it's way higher. This is the average right here, like around 6% national average. How you not go absolutely feral when you go to Japan? Surely your instincts to reproduce take over. It actually is pretty bad. I go to Japan and I'm like, oh shit, suddenly there's women. I don't recognize American women as like females, and then I go to Japan and I'm like, oh shit, my balls are going into overdrive, and it makes me go crazy. I was having like a mental breakdown when I visited Japan like a few years ago. I was like, shit, I actually want to be part of society now. What the fuck? And when I'm back in America, I have like zero, I don't give a single fuck about being trapped in my room the entire time. It doesn't bother me at all, because there's nothing outside my room that interests me. I'm like, there's all these women that I want to impregnate. I've made a horrible mistake. Why am I sitting in my room alone, masturbating to anime? I should be getting out there. And the moment I get back to America, I'm like, it doesn't matter. Don't care about 3D pigs. Pigs disgusting. What beauty does to a man? Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. My dick doesn't really respond to non-Japanese female at this point. Anyways, any kind of desire to reproduce must be countered by masturbating a lot. It's the only way. Just have to jack off until your dick won't get hard. Alright, let's just draw the skeletons. Would you fold immediately if Japanese female paid attention to you? Probably initially. And then I'd be like, okay, I've spent enough time with this human being. I can be alone again. That's generally how I work regarding anything. Reminder that I went to high school and college in Japan, and I didn't have sex then, so I don't think there's any kind of magical sex button that's gonna happen for me, but he'd freak out and run away. That's my default strategy for pretty much everything in life, so gotta maintain my safety. There's nothing more dangerous than human contact in the world, you know? You don't get murdered by random people you don't know. Everything bad that happens to you happens from personal relationships, so we must ensure that he has constant internet access in Japan or we'll lose him forever. Yeah. Don't get on the train before you jack off, or else your desire to grab that ass, the old office lady, Japanese office lady ass in skirt is there, so you must make sure that you're properly unhornied by jacking off so you don't grab the ass. Very important. Did you just say people don't get murdered by people they don't know? Overwhelmingly, yes, that's the case. The American NRA jack-off fantasy of being like, I was just alone in my home out in the country where the cops are 30 minutes away. That's why I own a AR-15 for self-defense. And a group of men that I don't know invaded my farmhouse to murder me and rape my wife. I will not say their racial makeup because that would make it too obvious, but let's just say that they might not be white. They're here to take my doomsday prepper stuff and take my wife and take my dog and take my truck. But then I pulled out my AR-15 and I killed all of them. God bless America. God bless the Second Amendment. That shit doesn't happen. Overwhelmingly, when people get murdered, it's like from people they know, like their friends or their wife or whatever. Car accidents are different. Honestly, it doesn't really matter if... Most car accidents aren't on purpose, so it doesn't really matter if the person does you or not. I'm talking about, like, directed violence. It's the ones who murder strangers you should be worried about. Actually, it's not, because the chance of being killed by, like, some rando serial killer that just goes from town to town killing people is pretty fucking low. Especially if you're a neat shut-in like myself who doesn't leave his room. Average American fantasy. If you go on YouTube, there's so many guys explaining the Second Amendment and why it's important. And they're always like, and then this guy... This man, he's invading my home with a knife, but I have my gun to protect myself. And I'm always like, why does he have a knife? Everybody has a fucking gun in America. You're gonna get in a fucking gunfight. Why do you think that, like, only the person who's invading your house is the one who's gonna have a knife? It does technically happen, but usually it's the cops doing it and you're not allowed to defend yourself against them. He was going for his gun! I own a musket for home defense since that's what the founding fathers intended. Make sure you have a tomahawk as well that you can throw at them. Fixed bayonet. How's that minute loading time working out? Yeah, you should just use bow and arrow. Like the real founding fathers of this country, the American Indian tribes intended. An Apache warrior can loose 10 arrows in the amount of time that it takes for you to load one musket round. Actually superior weapon. Go full Rambo. Use slingshot. kill them with your bare hands, like the founding fathers intended. Use your guerrilla strength. Then why did they lose? Checkmate. They lost because the white people kept on coming and coming and coming, basically. There was just a lot of white people. Also, white people used their special white people skill called lying, in which they were like, we promise this is the last time we'll take your land. We have this legal document that said so. And the American Indians were like, oh, a legal document. Surely the white people will honor this, as their entire society is based on maintaining laws. Little did they know that those laws are for white people and not for anybody else. Since we pay for it with our taxes, wouldn't it make sense that the military gives us missiles and tanks? Does any of you guys remember the YouTuber FPS Russia? This was like way back in the day. He disappeared and I wondered why, and it was because the alcohol, tobacco, firearms raided his house because for like suspicion of owning weed, because he basically owned enough arsenal and stuff to destroy a small country. He had like flamethrowers and shit. But it was legal for him to own that stuff because he had some sort of second-tier firearms license in which he was allowed to have all this shit. But he still got raided by ATF. So all the Second Amendment guys on YouTube were like, tyranny! It's crazy that a good American citizen who makes his living off of blowing shit up with flamethrowers on YouTube would get arrested by alcohol, tobacco, firearms. Do we have no freedom in this country? He did take weed over stated borders or something and make it a federal crime. It's something like that. They basically arrested him on bullshit. But the number one reason that they arrested him was obviously because he had like a fucking tank in his yard. So it's one of those things where it's like the Japanese saying is the peg that sticks out gets knocked in. Where like you can get away with it somewhat, but once you start making the whole thing a joke out of like these, you know, federal services, they're probably going to come after you, whether it's for the thing that you're actually doing or whether it's some bullshit made up weed charge. Wacko 2 Electric Boogaloo. Waco, I guess, not Wacko. The thing about Waco where everyone's like, oh my god, look what ATF did. It's just like, okay, but wasn't it just like a fucking crazy ass Christian cult and shit? Like, sorry if I'm not exactly particularly in tears that we a few Christian fundamentalists in their crazy ass Texas compound died. You are a big inspiration for me. Hey, thanks, Sichelkin. I don't know how to pronounce your name. For a second, I thought it was Sakimi-chan. I'm waiting for the day for Sakimi-chan to show up in my stream and announce her defeat and being like, I have way more money than you because I make $5,000 or more like $500,000 a year, but you are the true winner of the Internet Artist Contest. How can I compete, BB-sama? Unfortunately, Sakimi-chan doesn't know who I am because she's utterly soulless, but Waco was a militia gone wrong. They were a racist death cult. What was Ruby Ridge? I hear Ruby Ridge a lot when the gun nuts complain about government overstep and stuff like that. They were crazy, but they did shoot unarmed women and children, which should worry you. Well, I'm not holed up in a fucking compound, so I don't really have to worry about ATF showing up. I just have to worry about my local cops. And by the way, I'm not a woman or a child, so I don't care if the feds shoot women and children. I only care if they shoot grown adult men, which they most definitely do. So doesn't really make any difference if they're shooting the unarmed women or children. The women and children can worry about that. I'm gonna worry about myself. True BB response. Yeah. The women and children go last. I'm leaving the Titanic first. I'm gonna be like the guy in the Titanic movie that's Rose's fiance, who's like, I have a child! I have a child! Just grab like a random kid. Let me on! I have a child! Let's be honest. I wouldn't be on the Titanic because I'd be too lazy to get on a boat and to go someplace in the first place, so that would never happen to me. They'd be like, do you want to go on this voyage across the ocean? And I'll be like, nah. That's too much work. I need to look up images of falchions. Dark Souls reference. Remember the clip of a cop mag dumping a car after an acorn hit the roof of the car? Yeah. Cop, don't fire all of your rounds after you get freaked out by some inane thing happening. Challenge, difficulty, impossible. They just can't help themselves. Honestly, to be a cop in America, you need to have the mentality of like, I don't care if I'm going to get shot. I'm going to survive the initial bullet and then fire back, but I'm not going to fire first. But instead, they are completely obsessed with not being killed. See, I'd be way more sympathetic about American policemen if they didn't overwhelmingly vote Republican and allow for more guns to go into the ecosystem. If the argument is that we have a really hard job because we don't know when we're going to get shot because everybody is allowed to own a gun, then maybe you should actually vote for legislation that makes it harder for people other than cops to own guns, but none of them do because they're too fucking stupid. The Golden State Killer was also a cop for decades. I mean, that's the same as local priests joining the Catholic priesthood so they can prey on kids. That's just like a guy who wants to, commit violent acts becoming the job which allows you to commit violent acts. Nothing weird about that. American cops are very much trained to think that no one's life matters except theirs. Yeah. If you just kill everybody around you first, they can't kill you. If you watch YouTube cringe videos, you actually see cops that aren't murdering people, and it's like, holy shit. This cop isn't murdering everyone. That's amazing. I say this because I watched a bunch of Karen videos recently, and it's just random white women showing up drunk in public space, dropping N-bombs, and being like, call the manager, and the cop's like, ma'am, you need to calm down. And it's like, damn, why can't the cop unload his mag into her? She deserves it way more than the people that they usually kill. You can't convince me to trust people in positions in power, especially those with guns. Yeah. And even the American police force is still way better than, the police forces in other countries. We have chatters here that are from Mexico and Venezuela, and I'm pretty sure they're not very happy about the performance of their local policemen. So, if we're going by Mexican standards, if your cops aren't like a direct arm of the local drug cartel, you're doing pretty good. There are a few cops who are nice, but then they usually don't last long, or they are guilty of helping cover some heinous shit up. I mean, at least you're still in the most protected group of people when it comes to cops probably not shooting you if you're a white woman. I guess you're still not at the max cop not shooting you level. Old white woman is probably maximum level. You're still kind of young, but... Hist, you have a Twitch gun? We don't have enough people in this stream to actually have to use the gun very often. We just use it to ban the inevitable bots that is like, I'll promote you. Promote your Twitch stream. He likes the violence on chat. I wouldn't have to do it if they didn't deserve it. I like to think of myself as the thin blue line in this Twitch stream that protects the rest of society from falling into chaos. If I wasn't there to time out people, then society would just collapse. When I was jogging, there was a house that had the black and white American flag with the blue line on it publicly displayed right next to a house that had like a bunch of Black Lives Matter lawn signs. And I was always thinking like how fucking awkward it must be between those two and what type of like neighborhood warfare they're probably engaged in. I bet it's super awkward. I'm pretty sure the Black Lives Matter family was act like an actual black family as well, so... Probably a similar situation between Monkey and May. Yeah. But Monkey Freed wasn't actually black, so he's much more of just like the standard liberal rage. Just his like politics and stuff. I think it was actually like an actual cop household versus an actual black household, so... Also, it's not a similar situation because our little spats we had on our Discord is entirely online. Nothing that happens online is a similar situation to something that happens in real life. That's the truth. There is no such thing as cyberbullying. Just like turn off the computer, bro. Monkey had a thin blue line, anti-gay neighbor, LMAO. Brotherhood of Police. It's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, guys. A large part of being on the internet is just ignoring shit that you don't like. It's much more difficult to do it in real life, but even that you can do in real life. It's pretty rare that people like actually come after you in real life, so you can get by just by ignoring a lot of shit. Unless you're black and a cop is coming after you, then you can't really ignore that because you're going to get shot. But, you know, if it's just your neighbor displaying a fucking flag. Think Adam was bottom. He was with Lilith. Isn't Lilith appearing in the Book of Revelations at the end? I can't remember what part is like canonical biblical shit and what part is like paraphrased Evangelion lore at this point. The Bible has been so overused. Chatham, the first vampire. I think you're thinking of Cain. Cain and Abel. That is the whore of Babylon. Yes, I'm sorry. I forgot that you were a expert on this topic of various demonic figures in the apocalypse. One of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls came and said to me, "Come, I will show you the punishment of the great prostitute who sits by many waters. With her the kings of the earth committed adultery, and the inhabitants of the earth were intoxicated with the wine of her adulteries. Then the angel carried me away in the spirit into a wilderness. There I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast that was covered with blasphemous names and had 7 heads and 10 horns. The woman was dressed in purple and scarlet, and was glittering with gold, precious stones, and pearls. She held a golden cup in her hand, filled with abominable things and the filth of her adulteries. The name written on her forehead was a mystery: Babylon the Great, the mother of prostitutes and of the abominations of the earth. I saw that the woman was drunk with the blood of God's holy people and the blood of those who bore testimony to Jesus. When I saw her, I was greatly astonished. Then the angel said to me, "Why are you astonished? I will explain to you the mystery of the woman and of the beast she rides, which has 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast which you saw once was, now is not, and yet will come up out of the abyss and go to its destruction. The inhabitants of the earth whose names have not been written in the book of life from the creation of the world will be astonished when they see the beast, because it once was, now is not, and yet will come." This calls for a mind with wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 hills on which the woman sits. There are also 7 kings. 5 have fallen, 1 is, the other has not yet come, but when he does come, he must remain for only a little while. The beast who once was and now is not is an 8th king. He belongs to the 7 and is going to this destruction. The 10 horns you saw are the 10 kings who have not yet received the kingdom, who for 1 hour will receive authority as the kings along with the beast. They have one purpose and will give their power and authority to the beast. They will wage war against the Lamb, but the Lamb will triumph over them because he is the Lord and Lords of kings and kings, and with him he will be called chosen and faithful followers. So, based on this, it's perfectly clear what it's meant, I assume. I think we all understood what was going on there. There's basically no amount of extra interpretation you can do here. It's pretty direct. I think we all know what the Book of Revelations is talking about. I mean, the basic idea that she was vampiric in nature. Once again, people talking about their fan fiction about based on very limited, strange biblical content. I think whoever was writing that was having a stroke. So apparently the Book of Revelations is part of a tradition of this kind of literature in which they have a bunch of symbolic shit, and the entire stuff is symbolic shit, and nobody knows what it actually means because you're not supposed to actually understand. And of course, it's very helpful when you want to write your manga series featuring hot demon woman or something. Make your second manga about that. When I was planning to become a best-selling Jump shonen mangaka that was extremely rich and successful, I was planning to do some sort of Christian apocalypse manga. It was going to be like 40 volumes long. It seems like way too much work nowadays. Drawing 1 page is too much work. Drawing 10,000 pages is fucking hell. Baal going to reveal he's the real mangaka for 7 Deadly Sins. I mean, why do you think I'm called Baal? It was because I had a very distinct demon worshipping phase. Not necessarily demon worshipping, but I was like, I'm gonna do some sort of Christian related manga, so I was gonna do some sort of Book of Revelations, Apocalypse, Dante's Inferno, demon content. So I was looking up demons and stuff, so I was like, this is a good game facts name, BaalBud. That's where the name comes from. Akira is only like 2,000 pages. Yeah, but every single one of its pages is fucking gigantic buildings with insane details, so... Akira is pretty short. In the Talmud, she initially was Adam's wife, but because he refused to treat her as an equal during sex, she got pissed, uttered the name of God, and literally flew away out of the garden. If only she had gotten the deep dicking she deserved. The cock wasn't reaching the areas that she needed it to. She's based off Mesopotamian demons that targeted pregnant women and children. Yeah. There's a shit ton of like other religious demons and goddesses that show up in the Bible. Or is the Bible just it's taking local gods and are like, no, you're a demon now. Demonist correction. Oh, damn Astaroth. Astaroth, Astarte. Various demonesses. Cervix Hammer. Based on my hentai, I know that the only way in which women can be satisfied is if you smash their cervix with your massive cock. It's the only way. Now, people might say that hentai isn't real, but I still believe. I choose to believe in our potential as humanity. Mesopotamian beliefs are funny because it was basically an arms race of using demons to ward off other demons. No, I'm being cursed by my neighbor. Please, other demons, save me. But after that, the pussy is ruined, not in hentai. One thing you don't see in hentai is being like, you see the wife getting fucked by Giga Chad with his massive cock, and when then she comes back, even if she's like, I can no longer be satisfied with my husband's normal sized penis, you never actually hear about how loose she is now or something, so hentai vagina is much more durable than I don't know, IRL vagina. I don't know anything about IRL vagina, so I probably shouldn't talk about this. Do you believe inverted cervix is real like your animes? I will say that as soon as inverted cervix shows up in my fucking hentai, I'm turning that shit off. That stuff is disgusting. Why the fuck does anyone want to have sex with the inverted cervix? As soon as you get the inverted cervix show up in the hentai, they're immediately like, oh cool, her cervix is falling out of her body. Let's use it like an Ona hole. And I'm just like, I'm fucking done. It's pretty rare when I'm just like straight up done with hentai, but like when the inverted cervix shows up, I'm fucking done. I'm even more done with the inverted cervix than I am done when John Capita starts coming in women's eyeballs. It's like an equal level of doneness, but the inverted cervix shows up way more often. I don't know, ask 111BB. 111 doesn't have that much inverted cervix. Maybe it does. I don't read the hentai of 111 very often. I only play the video games. I don't like 111's actual art, honestly. I like the fact that 111 is very ambitious in the size of the games that they make. But I don't like the art itself. Eyeball bukkake is very fun. I fucking hate anything that involves people like sticking shit in their eyes. Even if it's something that it's supposed to go in your eye like a contact lens. Apparently my mother has some sort of thing in which she has like pimple-like sacs of oil develop on her face. She doesn't have pimples, but she has like these pimple-like bumps, except they're on the inside of her lower eyelid. And she was like, yeah, I had the doctor look at this pimple bump on the inside of my eyelid, and she pulls down her fucking eyelid and there's a fucking bump, and I'm like, I'm done. Mom, I don't want to see that. What the fuck, Mom? Yeah, I think it's some styes. I don't know what it is. But she has to, like, put a hot cloth on her eyes so to make the oil kind of soften up a bit or something. I don't know how it works. No skull fucking. Skull fucking is just, it's too vanilla. I mean, who hasn't done a little skull fucking here and there? Honestly, can you really say that your wife loves you if she doesn't let you fuck her eye socket? Am I right, fellow skull fuckers? Stewie. Does she wash her face? I don't think it has anything to do with it. She's a woman, so of course she has a bunch of face washing cleansers and shit like that. Please tell me 2 skellies will be fine. I have some bad news for you. Spoilers for people who want to read my manga later. We're going down into the dungeon. Here's the skellies. Next page. They're fucking dead, bro. Total dwarf murder of skeletons. That's a great page right there. I did a good job on that action scene. Twitch Mobile now has sidebar ads. They're really trying to just monetize as much as possible. Old makeup or lack of sleep? Well, considering my mother sleeps like, I don't know, 4 hours a night on average, that will do it, I assume. The skeleton is too tall. Maybe I can just make the head larger and that will balance it out a little. Meat bag on undead violence. Total skeleton death. No, that looks weird. His arms and legs are too long. It makes him look like an NBA player or something. People typically sleep less as they age. My mother never slept very much. She's one of those people that just works way too much. Sleep and eat less, piss more, drink more blood, eat more, what's the term for the liberal baby eating rings that we have? Where Hillary Clinton eats babies to keep her youth? Adrenochrome, is that what it is? Eat more babies, you know, standard shit. Adrenochrome, is that how it works? Sorry, I'm not part of the Hillary Clinton death cult, so I don't know what I'm supposed to be eating. Adrenochrome, okay. I'll try and buy some when I go to Whole Foods next time to keep myself young. How much adrenochrome do you guys take daily? Taylor Swift is a Dem plant, Kekona. That's right. Anybody who doesn't like something that I like is part of the conspiracy, guys. Why is it that all these young women are voting Democratic after we ban abortion. It must be because they're being influenced by Taylor Swift, a plant. At least one baby a week. Stuff is expensive. That's another problem with banning abortion, by the way. How will we get our supply of dead babies to keep ourselves young if women aren't going to be going to abortion clinics? This will destroy the adrenochrome economy. Just use third world countries. Even the third world countries aren't having as much babies now, so... They just use immigrant children. I don't know, man. I feel like the South American migrant children that I've been draining of their life force aren't as high quality as the white babies. Not racist. I just prefer eating white babies over brown babies, you know? Trump planned ahead by stacking the Supreme Court to drain the swamp. Kekona, what a smart man, Kekona. I think it's particularly funny when the Supreme Court overturned something like 9-0, because it means like whatever went to the Supreme Court was like incredibly stupid. Because it's almost always along party lines. And every once in a while there'll be something that's like 9-0, and I'm like, what the fuck happened there? The foreskin makes the application so much smoother. That's right. Because Hystrixia is part of the giant Jewish cabal conspiracy. Doesn't she have access to unlimited foreskins or something? Isn't that how it works? By the way, I still have my foreskin. My mother was Japanese enough that she didn't properly circumcise me and give my foreskin to the Jewish conspiracy, so... A lady never tells. My favorite story in the Bible is the one where the Jews are invading the land of Canaan or whatever, and they somehow convince another tribe that they can have sex with Jewish women if they all get circumcised, and the tribe is like, okay, we'll fucking cut off our foreskins so we can mate with Jewish women, and while they're all in pain and sitting around with their foreskins chopped off, the Jews come in and murder all of them, and somehow this is told as like a heroic story of Jewish triumph against the odds instead of like complete bullshit. You're supposed to be like, damn, the Jews were great guys, weren't they? Jewish women being a trap as usual. The guys at Sodom and Gomorrah were right. They were right for trying to fuck the angels instead of some weird ass Jewish woman. Instead of having sex with what's his guy's daughters, they're like, nah, I'd rather have sex with the angel bussy. Completely justified response. Jewish women are nothing but trouble. Of course, that didn't stop them from all getting nuked, but, you know. I guess if they had gone off after the Jewish women instead, If they had just taken his daughters like they were supposed to, instead of trying to get the angel bussy, they might all still be alive. But the call of the bussy was too much. Ben Shapiro's sister has increased the reputation of Jewish woman hotness by like tenfold. But despite all these stories, I don't think Jewish women are that hot. I'm sorry. I'm not particularly interested in Jewish women. They don't all look like Ben Shapiro's sister, unfortunately. Someone should make a Ben Shapiro NTR dojin. You know, those NTR dojins where it's not like your childhood friend or your girlfriend getting cucked, but it's like your sister. Where it starts with the implication of incest. One-chan. No, One-chan is getting fucked by another guy. No. I want the Ben Shapiro version of that. You should watch clips from the horrid Jewish dating show. Oh god, okay. Jewish dating show. Watch Jewish matchmaking. Oh god. It exists. Oh, it's new. It's 2023. Damn.
What I bring to a relationship is I'm very handsome, I'm very intelligent, I have a ton of charisma, but by far my greatest quality is my humility.
From the creators of Indian matchmaking.
Matchmaker and dating coach.
Oh my god, her name is actually Shalom.
Finding your person is the hardest thing to do in the entire world. And that's where I come in. The matchmaking I strictly do with the Jewish community, where I have helped over 200 couples to get to the chuppah.
I want them to be obsessed with me. I need passion.
Animal lover.
Blonde or blue eyes or, you know, bigger, you know what I mean?
He says bigger,
I do feel immense amount of pressure. You're supposed to be married and have children.
I'm like the only one in Kansas that is a Jew of my color.
As an Orthodox Jewish woman, if you're 28, people make comments, "You're such a great girl. How are you still single?" All like amazing questions.
Well, cheers.
The rule of
well,
thumb
there is a woman
date
shaking
until
her
you hate 'em.
tits
Red flags,
in the
boy energy.
commercial,
Two big red
so
flags. One was that
I
she
guess
was
the
a vegan,
Khazar
and
Milker's
one was that she
reputation
had
isn't
two cats.
exactly wrong.
Wow.
Yeah.
I definitely was into him. There was chemistry. How big is his mezuzah?
I have the hardest job in the world. And
I
if you
have the
believe me,
hardest job.
just
Can I go on a rant? I have heard that phrase, "I have the hardest job in the world," so many times by people who aren't even being ironic. Like, everybody seems to think that they have the fucking hardest job in the world. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. You don't have the hardest job in the world unless you're like, I don't know, a fucking brain surgeon being paid minimum wage. There's definitely people out there who have harder jobs than you. Streaming is the hardest job, exactly. Nobody understands how much suffering I go through. Like, how the fuck can these... Why the fuck do people keep on saying I have the hardest job in the world when, like, they could be working as a minimum wage Indian wage slave in the sugar fields or some shit like that? I was reading New York Times and they had an article about how there's these, like, low-caste Indian workers that work for sugar fields that make sugar for PepsiCo and like Coca-Cola, and it was about how the companies were literally making women get hysterectomies and have their ovaries removed so they wouldn't have to take days of rest when they have their period. I was like, this is the most late stage capitalism shit, where it's like, we need you to take out your fucking ovaries so you can be more of a agricultural laborer nonstop. Oh, and by the way, they were being forced to do this surgery on their own budget and go into debt to the companies. So it's like, you have to remove your ovaries and you owe us money for removing your ovaries so you can work harder. And I'm like, you really think your job's that hard? Luckily, we can drink our Coca-Cola guilt-free because it's all going to like Indian Coca-Cola, because our Coca-Cola is corn syrup, so we don't get the high-quality agricultural slave sugar in our Coca-Cola. There's always someone who has it harder. Yeah. Not all of them, but a lot of religious folks in Israel. There's also a bunch on US East Coast. Orthodox Jews, which is what I assume you're talking about, are like... Oh, Alaskan crab fishermen. That too. Orthodox Jews are like the ultimate free riders in both Israel and American society. They like contribute nothing to the economy and just study the Torah all day. But they're also like, we should be fighting all the Arab tribes around Israel. But we won't be joining the military service. It's pretty crazy what they get away with. They're like, yeah, I just want to be studying the holy book all the time. Also, these people could just say, I have a hard job, that's it. The reason it pisses me off that these people say this is because I had people that said that shit in my college as well. I was an art minor, and like, one of the art teachers was like, being an artist is the hardest job in the world. I'm like, no, it's fucking not. It's like, you need to know so much. It's like, no, it's not. You're completely graded on bullshit. You don't actually produce anything. Everything that you produce, all the value that produces is just like marketing of your own shit. It's definitely not the hardest job in the world. Once had an Orthodox Jewish man ask me if I was Jewish because he needed directions. When I told him I wasn't Jewish, he walked away. I hope he found whatever he was looking for. When I was in Japan, I got confronted by two Mormons who were asking for the location of the train station. I told them the train station was in the opposite direction, even though they were like 5 minutes away from it. Except I wasn't being mean on purpose or anything. I legitimately thought they were trying to find a different train station because there was different lines, and I didn't know what line they were looking for. So I assumed that they weren't looking for the really nearby train station. But in retrospect, I basically made them like walk 40 minutes in the opposite direction, I think. Serves them right for asking a white person, because they're like, oh, this white person, I can talk to him. Well, guess what? This white person doesn't fucking know where he's supposed to go either, so you're kind of fucked. It's okay. Mormons are extremely forgiving when it comes to that type of shit, so I'm sure they're okay with that. Guy jeans? Yeah, Mormons, I don't know if you don't know this, but Mormons have to go to other countries and, like, help out other countries and turn them to the Mormon faith. You can always tell they are because they're in pairs and they wear white shirts and like ties. But those Mormons definitely lucked out because they were in Tokyo instead of like Botswana or something. Good for them. Not surprised they can be insanely xenophobic. If they are on a plane, they only want to sit with their own unless it's a woman. Are you talking from personal experience with your father? Just being like, get me next to a woman. Mormons can find gold tablets, but they can't find a train station. It's their fault. Yes, those gold tablets were definitely found, left after, like, God came down and left them. The super religious ones. The reason why Orthodox Jews still exist is because they're horny and they want to reproduce. So we can't complain about them wanting to sit next to a woman on an airplane. I just think Orthodox Jews are a huge negative impact on society as a whole because of the problems that we had in COVID, where like everybody was trapping themselves in their house so that they wouldn't give each other the fucking COVID cough. And then Orthodox Jews were like, nah, we don't have to listen to the rules that society makes up. And I'm just like, who are these guys? Why are we allowing exceptions for these people to behave like crazies? But that's America for you. Just remember those rape tunnels. Wait, is that the recent rape tunnels? The tunnel where they had like in a New York synagogue or whatever? Were those rape tunnels? I thought we didn't know what the tunnels were. Were they digging them so they could go and rape? Jew Tunnel, New York. They had women in there? LMAO. Wait, did they have women like trapped in the tunnel, or were they digging the tunnel to go to a location where there was women? Illegal synagogue tunnel in New York City destabilized other buildings. They're actually like fucking up the infrastructure of New York. I think they brought them in there. Secret Chabad tunnel in New York leads to arrests. It's not exactly clear how long it has been there. For several hours, police pleaded with the young men to leave the entrance to the tunnel, according to witnesses. After they refused, they're like, this is my tunnel. This hole was made for me. Yeah, in most of the articles they don't talk about what the tunnels were for, but if it's young men, I guess it's same to assume that wherever they go, they must also rape, so... They have spun a wire around all of Manhattan on power poles, so it's technically considered indoors, and they can walk around Manhattan during the rest day. Dude, just stay inside on Sunday. How hard can that be? They had a full-on brawl between two sects, pro-tunnel and anti-tunnel, in a synagogue, and that's how they found the tunnel. They don't drink tap water because it's not kosher. Microscopic shellfish. They must drink the microplastics like all of us. More necromancer chick. Everybody coming into the stream is like, as soon as they see skeletons, they just think of necromancer tits. The necromancer is not showing up in this manga. Gay sex tunnel. Microplastics are yummy though. How bad can microplastics be if we can't even notice them? I feel like microplastics are the next like DDT, where everyone is like complaining about pesticides and stuff, and it turns out that DDT is perfectly harmless and fine. Oh wait, yeah. So, but what's the point? Like, there's nothing you can do to like remove it, right? Our house uses a bunch of filters, so we're trying to remove the microplastics from our water, but I don't think it's doing that much. My uncle's Jewish neighbor would wait till Shabbat, then ask my uncle to carry heavy stuff for him. Absolute mastermind. Wait, how does that work? I don't understand. So he couldn't do anything himself on the day of rest. So you'd be like, I can't help you. You have to carry the entire fucking couch yourself. Like, if it's really heavy stuff, you probably can't even carry it if you're alone. Yes, microplastics is the lead of our generation. And just like lead, it's completely overrated and perfectly healthy. Nothing to see here, guys. They literally can't do labor. Jesus Christ, these people, man. Not gonna lie, I hope Japan stays the way it is and doesn't let all these other foreigners in it, especially foreigners that have strict religious sects attached to them. The good thing about Japan is it doesn't have all this bullshit. Japan should be like, oh, you're a Muslim? Yeah, you can come to Japan as long as you eat pork. We only allow people that don't give a fuck about their religion here. Gotta bring the yen up? Not if I'm gonna live there. Also, the yen being extremely cheap isn't actually a negative on the country if it's... it only matters in export-import related stuff, so... What about Jewish women that go into labor? Isn't that just like okay because women are supposed to be suffering by default or something like that? I'm bad Jew because I like katsudon too much. I like the argument that some Muslim guy was making that Allah isn't paying attention to Japan. It's too far away from Mecca or something like that. I was like, yes, that's the right argument. Eat the pig. The pig tastes good. All the moderately rich American people will start emigrating to Japan. They already are. Look at PewDiePie. Not American, but white people are like, we're just gonna fucking go to Japan. Okay, the moral of this story is that I can't draw complicated things like backgrounds and skeletons on stream. Alright, I'm gonna end stream here because I'm not making progress and I have to do my fucking taxes. Fuck, I hate doing taxes. I didn't do much on stream. I tried. It was worth a try. No, I have the timer up, but I'm being extremely unproductive, so it's time to end. As usual, stream is unhelpful for drawing. Good night, guys. See you around.